So anyway, welcome. This is Gary, first guest on our podcast, Qualified. It's a podcast for marketing agencies, and happy to have him. I met you in person in Dallas, but longtime fan.
Thank you.
Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your business, what you do, how long you've been doing it.
Thanks, Matt. We have been doing digital marketing for years. We have an agency that we've done for a very long time. And then we got into high level 5 years ago, I think, maybe even a little bit longer. And we're in Australia, by the way, so we're a bit far removed from you.
I can tell. Yeah.
So we were using high level, and SMS is a bit of a challenge in Australia. Very similar to what you guys go through now with A2P. We had a thing called reg bundles, which we still have, which it's not as bad as A2P, but still requires some registration and information from a client and all that kind of thing to get a number for SMS. And also the costs for SMS were really high over in Australia. So it just kind of made that type of marketing a bit prohibitive. So we started to use mobile phones to run our SMS campaigns through for clients. And that worked very well, made a whole different dynamic of conversations with clients around the cost of doing SMS marketing. Before we would have to give them credits and explain, okay, well, we'll give you this many credits, but if you use them, then it's going to cost you more money. And then they would say, how much money? And so, well, it depends how much you spend, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Whereas when we used SMS SIM cards, it was a lot easier. We would just say, hey, look, here you go. Your SMS is included in this $300 a month plan. That's including your SMS. Job done. Simpler conversation. And then we made that into our own platform, myCRMSIM, about 8 months ago or so, that we started to then push out to other agencies.
Is that it?
What we've been doing. Yeah.
That's all? 8 months ago?
About 8 months ago. And we're pretty much hitting about 300 agencies now using our platform in 8 months, myCRMSIM.
Wow.
Which I think is pretty good. It went a lot further and faster than I kind of thought. A lot of long nights and just kind of figuring things out.
Obviously solving a problem they have, and they want it. So when you are solving a problem.
Exactly.
And it's a problem that you had.
Yeah, it's a problem we had for just like time to get them set up. It was a bit of a pain to get them set up, and also cost. Cost was the biggest pain for us, and that's not something that you guys suffer from in the US so much in terms of cost, because it's really cheap to do SMS. But once A2P came in, that made things a bit harder for guys over in the US as well. So
you say, what are costs for people that do the traditional route in Australia?
I think it's about 5.5 US cents per text message, roughly.
Are you?
And then I think it's 1 cent per text message received as well. So we're like, 5 to 6 times the cost of you guys, plus
That's
everyone
crazy.
We receive. Yeah, so everyone we receive costs the same as the one that you send. So it gets expensive fast. You don't do it.
When we receive text, is it still free for us to receive texts?
It's either free or it's very, very low. Like we don't use Twilio Lead Connect. I haven't done for so long that I don't know all the prices now. We've got so many people in different countries and stuff. But yeah, it's super cheap. That you guys don't even really think about it that much.
Yeah. So for you guys who don't know anything about what we're talking about, this is going around Twilio. Lead Connector, Signal Wire is the one I used. Going around all that and using actual SIM cards. Yeah.
Yep. So simply grabbing a phone. I have a bunch of them here, but like using a phone like this, that becomes I just explain it to people. It's like, this is your SMS modem. It's like Twilio, like you set up a phone number on Twilio, and then you don't know where it goes, but basically that's running on a computer somewhere, right? You just don't even think about it. That's all that this replaces. It's just an SMS modem, and that's it. It's pretty simple.
And excuse me, like I know so much about a very particular thing. So please don't make fun of me for questions I ask. Do you have like a warehouse of phones and a message comes in and you use like do you use like a physical phone? Physical SIMs? Are these physical things?
Yes, so it is a physical phone with, doesn't have to be a physical SIM. You can use eSIMs and stuff. But yeah, you need a physical phone and you need a SIM card. It doesn't have to be one SIM card, but a SIM card for each sub account. You can add as many as you want. So the way
So
that
do you have that? Do they buy that? Are you like the connection and they have the phone?
we have some, so we hold some for clients, and then some clients we give the phones to them. So there's a couple of ways of doing it, and I think that's probably the thing that confuses people the most when they sort of think about it and they go, "Oh, I'm going to have 1,000 phones in my office," which you're probably not. Because in some cases, it's maybe not practical as well. And we can talk about that, why, we're a great solution for some, we're not a great solution for others, right? There are obviously things around using SIM cards, right? Which we try and make sure that people do understand. But yeah, the reality is like you can hold some phones for some people, and other people you can just sign them up and say, hey, here you go, you're done, you signed up. By the way, this is your CRM phone. All your phone calls will come through here, and you can take phone calls on it, and your SMS are going to run through here. So you just need to make sure you have this turned on at all times and connected to Wi-Fi at all times. There you go. So
Can you use your existing number?
you can. So you can only use Android phones. So that's one thing, right? So it's only an Android phone that you can connect for the SMS. We have a WhatsApp integration as well that we just released a while ago, and you can connect that with an iPhone. So that we need to explain to people. So you can use your existing phone, but there's things that we like to explain to people. It's like if you use your phone through a SIM card, they're not designed for like mass texting. Okay, so if you run webinars and you want to send out a message to 500 registrants 10 minutes before, say, hey, the webinar starts in 10 minutes. Here's the link. Jump online. You can't do that through a mobile phone. Okay, because think about it, right? Phone. How can you possibly type and send 500 text messages at once? Not going to work. And the carrier will flag you because you've connected an automation system to it, and they'll flag you and they'll block the phone number. So we don't recommend that people use like an existing phone number for a business. Like you imagine if you've got a business that's had the same phone number for 10 years, and then you go, yeah, no worries, you connect that to it, and then they do an SMS blast because they weren't explained properly that they shouldn't do that, and they get that phone number blocked or burned, and then they lose that number. You don't want to be responsible for that for your customer. Okay, so we recommend setting up a separate phone number and obviously using it accordingly. We have training, we have snapshots, we have all those kind of things for people to make sure that they shouldn't do that. But hey, accidents do happen. In nearly 5 years now, I've burnt one SIM card ever because we accidentally had an automation fire and it blasted out like 2,500 Google review requests at once, just like that. So we're like, what's going on? So the card also got blocked. But I just rang them up. This is my only experience with it. So from my own personal experience, I only did it once. But I just rang up the support desk people and said, hey, our phone seems to have stopped working. And they're like, oh, it seems like there was a lot of messages went through at once. Have you done something? I was just like, no. And within about 4 hours.
And they got it turned back on for you?
Yeah, they turned it back on within about 4 hours. So, some people, like there are still some people that will manage to get them blocked, and they will ring up, and some people get them unblocked. Some people don't manage to get them unblocked. Some people, what one guy told me is that he rang up and said, oh yeah, my kid installed an app on the phone and it started blasting out all these text messages. I've removed the app now and then it's all stopped. So can we just get it reinstated? And they're like, yeah, no worries. So yeah, we just like to make sure people do understand that that's a limitation of the service that we provide. So we're absolutely perfect for, like, we can replace Twilio, we can do all the workflows, automation through chatbot, CloseBot will work with it, all of that kind of stuff. But you can't do blasts at once. So if you need to send out, if you need to send out a lot of text messages, you need to drip them out over a bit of time and use a workflow to automate the drip. And we have snapshots to help people with that. So you can drip
What do
them
you
out,
recommend
vary the
for
time.
like how many messages in a day would be reasonable?
Really depends. Like it's different for different countries and different service providers. So this is a question I get asked all the time. Like we got clients all over the world, same as you, right? But the difference being that I don't know the SIM plans all over the world, right? So our clients have to get the SIM plan themselves. Okay, they
Yeah.
provide that. We provide the connection, the gateway. So I get clients all the time that are asking, say, "Oh, I'm in Germany. What's the best SIM plan that I should buy?" I'm like, I don't know, or some country I've never even been to. So we're building a little bit of a repertoire or reservoir, whatever the right word is there, reservoir, I think, of different SIM
Yeah.
plans that we know that people use in different countries, right? So it seems like for us in Australia, we seem to have it fairly easy, right? So on a SIM card in Australia, we've personally done this. We've sent like 20,000 messages in a month off of a SIM card. And I know other clients that have done that and clients in New
That's
Zealand.
quite a lot.
Yeah, that's a fair few, right? So you drip them out, and that's kind of like one per minute over the course of a sort of a 10-hour
That's
day,
crazy.
600
I
or
thought it
so a
would be
day.
way less.
Well, it seems like in the US, you get hit harder with the cheap plans. And for us to do that, that's on a plan. It costs us $65 a year, like Australian as well. So that's about $6 US. No, not really, but like probably about 40 odd dollars US for the year for our SMS that we can do here. In the US, like you have some pretty cheap plans, like they're $8, $10 a month. Those guys seem to be more restrictive, all right, in that you'll get away with maybe a couple of thousand a month on those plans, 2 to 4, depending on the age of the SIM card, if you've warmed it up, some stuff like that. I've now got some feedback from clients that are using particular plans, particularly business plans as well, and they are much higher volume. So I've got a client, he's just been blasting them out on a plan. I don't know if I can. Well, I can say his name on here, can't I? Does it matter? Anyway, Mario from Mario from HL Pro Tools. This should be fine because it's all on our Facebook page. He gave me permission to say all this. So he uses our service for all of his stuff through the HL Pro Tools partner program. And I actually did a call with him the other day. We were just chatting about a project that we're doing. And then I was asking him how he was finding things using our service. And because he'd told me he'd been using a particular provider and he'd been blasting them out. And I asked him how that was going. He said, yeah, I just blast them out. Like he'll send out like 1,000 messages at a time and just blast them on this particular plan that he's using. And that's in the US. It's quite funny. I put this up on our Facebook page the other day. You can actually see, because we were recording it and talking, and you can see the part of my brain where it actually like screws a bit. So I'm like, what? Because no one else in the US has been able to do that before that I've heard of.
What should people know from a legality standpoint on doing this?
Okay, so good question. So from a legality standpoint, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't advise exactly what the legal standpoints are in different countries, right? But from a morality point of view, I guess the thing that you should do is make sure that they are customers that kind of opted in to get information from you, right? We don't condone like cold text messaging, right? I've never ever done that. We've never done cold text messaging. I think that's kind of annoying to people. So yeah, don't do that. I know particularly in the US, like don't do that. You're going to get yourself potentially in trouble. I know that there are fines around that. Again, there are people that tell me, say, hey, but it's not enforceable and they can't do anything or whatever. I'm like, well, I guess that's on you kind of thing. I don't know. But yeah, look, following good practice around like, have they opted in to receive information from you, right? I mean, that would be the main thing that I would say. And then one of the other things we try and make sure we teach people as well, if they're using SMS marketing, is like do it within reasonable hours. All right. It's a little tip we give people, and in our workflows that we give them for like database reactivations. If you're setting up a workflow to send out SMSs and follow-ups and reminders and stuff like that, set that up in your workflow so that you have the runtime for the workflow set to the contact's time zone, and then set time zones for the for the workflow to run in. Yeah, between whatever that might be, sort of 8 and 7 p.m. is kind of a reasonable time, I think, to kind of be contacting people in between, because you don't want to be sending text messages to someone at 2:00 in the morning, and say,
Yeah, that's the
hey,
kind of stuff that gets them to report you, and then
yeah,
you're toast. And
just annoys them anyway. You're like, hey, Brian, just following up on my, our conversation the other day about myCRMSIM, and it's 2:00 in the morning, your phone beeps. You're like,
yeah, like screw off.
Yeah, regardless whether
Leave
you
me alone.
report me or whatever, you're just going to be like, get out of here, man. What are you texting me for now? So yeah, we try and make sure that, follow best practice for those things as best you can. There's always things that happen with workflows and time zones and people's time zone not being mapped to their IP
It's probably
address and
been
whatnot. But
exciting for people to be able to use this kind of stuff with a chatbot. I know a lot of CloseBot users are users of yours too, and they have tons of success with like database reactivation, for example. Yeah, same thing. They're dripping it out. They're using CloseBot to qualify these leads, book an appointment, reschedule, and they're really able to staff down and scale up.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things. So using a bot like CloseBot and then SMS. We first talked months ago when I think we'd only just started, and then you did a little bit of a survey with your users on how many people or how were they booking appointments. And I think it was around about 65%, I believe, was like SMS. And you allowed me to share that with our group, which was really cool. That's how we kind of first got in contact. But yeah, doing that through a bot and then SMS is just like saving time, money. Like I just had a conversation a couple of weeks ago with a client, and they are selling property, basically, like developments, for people for investment property. And they took an old list that they had of a couple of thousand leads and plugged that in with SMS with a follow-up AI bot to book them into a conversational appointment. And he got something like 170 booked appointments out of that list. All right. So, but I mean, he was obviously stoked about that because, I mean, that's filled his calendar for quite some time, right? So it was a dead list, wasn't really doing much with it, got 170 appointments out of it. Took a few hours to set up and then run, but all done on automation. And the thing that he was so stoked about was he's like, I've got other lists and things that we could do with this as well. And he was saying, like, if he'd got an appointment setter to do that, just manually do it and take appointments and book people in and follow up and so forth. Because now it's got follow up as well. It's like they're booked into their appointment. It says follow up as well, all those kind of things. He's like, I'm looking at about $80,000 a year to hire someone for that. All right. And
it would have taken him a long time to do it.
And to train them as well, right? You've got to train these people. All right. So like when you're training a bot, I mean, yeah, you've got to take some time to train it, and then you've got to manage it and, tweak it because, we all know the first thing out the gate isn't the perfect thing. And then you find a random question you never thought someone would ask. And of course they do. But then you can tweak that quickly on the fly and then the bot knows again. But whatever you put out of the gate with a bot that you've spent a couple of hours on is like 10 times better than any staff member that you can put in the front line generally within a day. Like, and then they don't take time off either. So you're saving tens of thousands of dollars.
It's so hard to even manage those conversations. Like I used to run a team of virtual assistants and they were managing a single inbox. But you'd have times where you have like 20 unread messages and a VA goes in there and accidentally marks one as read, and then they forget to respond and then they're going to a different one, and leads fall through the cracks all the time, even if you have a team of people there. They
do. They absolutely do. So yeah, 24/7, no sleep, no emotional drama, which is always great as well with that stuff.
Going back to the stats, we booked 6,000 appointments last week on SMS. Those were just the SMS stats. 9,000 total, 6,000 were on SMS.
Yeah, so it's still on the same kind of numbers as we were talking about before, so about 65% roughly.
Yeah.
Booking on SMS, so 6,000 and 9,000.
It is crazy. And I don't know if it's inbound or like database reactivation. I'm not sure on that.
Yeah.
But SMS is not dead.
it's not dead, and that's what I really like about what we do, right? And I feel like we actually provide a service that helps businesses that are having trouble with, you know, the Twilios and the red tape that they got to go through with those things, right? Which is a barrier for them. Some people can't get that. They don't have the right business registration, or they can't get their A2P approved because whatever reason, right? And we, like I said, we absolutely don't condone like I've had a little bit of hate speech on me a couple of times going, oh, you shouldn't do this. You're encouraging cold SMS blasting and all that kind of thing. I'm like, no, we are not. We are not doing that. We are just like, hey, we offer a service for people where, you know, it's an alternative. Like, use it responsibly. You know, SMS leads that have come into you. You know, use it for follow-ups. Use it for database reactivations. Do all the good and do all the right things that you should do with Twilio if you can get an account. But if you can't, you can use us. If it's too expensive to use Twilio, then use us. If you can't get a number through Twilio, use us. Like, we've got clients in countries where they can't even get an SMS number, right? New Zealand, like our close cousin, being the one that really springs to mind. We have a lot of clients in New Zealand. One of the coolest messages that I ever got.
You can't get a Twilio number in New Zealand?
Yeah, can't get one. They can't get it.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
No. So there's a lady, Christine, who's she's a JHL admin. She's been using our service for quite a while now, but she's been with JHL for 3 years or so, I think it was. And she set up our service, and then she sent me this message. She's like, oh my God, we have it somewhere on our Facebook page. She's like, oh my God, I've been using JHL for 3 years. I've just sent my first text message. I can't believe it. So, I mean, she couldn't do it before. So now she's like, yeah, we've got SMS. You can do SMS for our clients, you know, and that just gives them so much more scope for all the things we just talked about. Because, like, how are they going to use an AI chatbot if they can't use SMS?
If you can't buy numbers there, and now they can provide that for their clients, they have a huge leg up, because there are a lot of GHL agencies now everywhere. But if they're the only ones in that area that can provide a number local to that area, that's massive.
Exactly, and that's where we understand there's a sort of a barrier with you've got to get a phone, you've got to get a SIM card. It's not plugging it into the cloud sort of thing. But hey, that's worth it, right? You just say to the client, yeah, here you go, here's your phone, here's your SIM card. You just bundle that into. There's a bit of a setup costs. You can just charge them at cost just to get them on board. Some people charge them a bit extra, you know, to set it up, whatever it might be. But it solves
Tell me
the
a little
problem
bit about just about running a business. For example, I mean, we've been growing quickly. You know, you've been growing quickly. There are some difficulties that come with that. Ups and downs. Like, how have you been? What are some things you're going through to scale your business? Agency owners are going to be the ones listening to this. They may be going through similar things, whether you're going from 1 client to 20 clients, 20 to 100, 1 to 500. Like, there are scaling challenges. So what tips do you have?
So I would say the number one tip I've got is, like, care about your customers and support, right? And your product. Okay. So something we try and make sure we do is, like, I'm very accessible, like you are. We've got our communities, we've got our forums, we've got our groups, you know. You're very accessible in there. I'm very accessible in mine. Try and keep people up to date with what's going on. Be responsive. Be honest as well. You know, if there's anything that happens, if there are ever any issues, you know, sometimes, you know, we work with code and we work with GHL, right? And there's a whole bunch of things in between. And sometimes those things go wrong or whatever, you know. So we're always in there and just making sure that, you know, if anything happens, that we're honest about that and make sure that fixes. But being open and honest and available and caring about your product just takes you to another level, because people see that and then they kind of go, well, you know, these guys care about us and they're trying to make sure that they do the right thing and everything. That's taken us a long way, I think, you know. Same with you, right? I watch all the stuff that you do. I'm like, hey, Bryce is in there. I watch your little lives. I watch what you're doing in there. I know you care about the product. I know you're thinking about the future of the product. You're trying to deliver the best that you can in value and the product and support and service and everything. And I think when people see that you're doing that and you really care, that really carries you a long way. And with support as well, like having really good support documentation. Like we have FAQs and support docs everything, right? And if we ever get asked a question, we go, oh, we didn't have that in there, then we just put it in there straight away. We're always updating it. So trying to allow people to help themselves, because that's one of the biggest challenges I have, is that like Australia is probably the worst time zone in the world to run a global business from, because like when we're awake, pretty much most people are asleep. And then we're asleep, pretty much most people are awake, right? It's just terrible for that. So trying to make sure that we can, allow people to help themselves, so having good support
Yeah.
docs. We have
Do you
24.
have human support?
We do have human support now. We use a third party service, so we have 24/7 human tier one support,
Nice.
that can help guide people through into that. So we did use bots for that, and they did work very well. But we tested with humans, and the cost for the service that we use basically just made it worth it. That we're gonna use humans. It's just a little
Yeah.
bit of a different
Yeah.
interaction on support. It seems,
We
people can
use
get a little bit,
both,
yeah,
and that's been good. Um, we don't use CloseBot for our support side because it's focused on like lead qualification and conversational appointment booking. We use Intercom. You've probably heard of them. So it's slick because you have all your support documents in there. It searches those. It can give answers, but people can click to go to a human, and then it's converted over to a ticketing system. The whole back end is set up to handle multiple staff members working tickets, and yeah. But like I think like 60%, maybe higher, maybe 70% of our chats close. They're resolved before it gets to a human. So that's sweet.
that's good. That's good. Yeah, we just put it. It didn't make a difference for us. We use a service called Talk2, and it doesn't make any difference for us if we have the AI bot up front anyway before it gets to a human. Like, there's no cost difference for us. We just put the humans in there anyway. Because with support, like I say, it's kind of different using an AI bot for appointment setting, general information about your business, your product, your service, as opposed to people that are like, I've got a problem and I want it solved. They're in a different emotional state. And sometimes those people can get like, they know they're talking to a bot, and they can just get angry, and they just feel like, oh, I want to speak to a human anyway. So we just put the humans in the front of them for that. And yeah, people appreciate that. They appreciate and get to talk to a person, because they will just say, hey, just give me a second. I'm
Yeah.
going to go away and try and find the answer for you. Okay, rather than a bot.
We're trying to lean into that with the whole AI thing. AI is taking off. I feel like, and I've felt like this since the beginning, people are going to appreciate the person connection way more, with everyone else trying to leverage bots to the max. So we've leaned into that human thing. I do personalized videos for everyone that makes an account, and we have a person in charge of customer care. Like, it's their full-time job, customer care. We have human support staff, human support team manager. AI for humans is like, that's our motto. We are humans building AI for other humans. We care about them.
Yeah, no, I think that's good, because it's AI is amazing, right? The places it's going, but there's a time and a place for that. There's a time and a place for humans. There's human understanding, and there's all the emotion that you've got to take people through, and holding their hand on certain journeys and stuff like that, which a bot isn't necessarily going to do. It's just going to like provide the answer that it thinks is the right one, and God, does amazing jobs on that stuff. But yeah, it's.
I mean,
I read the chats all the time, and they're very different. The conversational chats with the humans for support than the AI bot ones were, even though most of the time it's the same resolution. You know what I mean? It's like, yep, that's the problem. Here's the answer, kind of thing. The AI, the human interaction is normally softer. People appreciate that they've come in and they get to talk to someone.
Yeah. Do you have any insight, any ideas on where AI is headed? You can link it back to database reactivation, outreach, lead qualification. Where do you think things are headed in, even a year? Like,
man, who knows in a year? Who knows? I mean, it's headed to well, at the moment, the thing I've been playing with a bit is like the coding side of things, right? I'm not a developer. I'm not a coder, right? I can program, and I used to program buildings and stuff. That was my start in engineering. I used to program buildings for a living, for aircon and lights and lifts, like if then and else or type stuff, So whatever you want is happening in the building.
That was me too. I did PLC stuff,
Oh, there you
programmable
go.
logic controllers.
That's it.
That's what got me into it.
There
Basic
you go.
stuff. Yeah.
So you got that very logical brain, right? So it's just like,
yeah.
That's exactly what I used to do. But you give me JavaScript, I'm just like, that's not my thing, right? But programming now, like I've been using Lovable a bit, and you can program stuff in there and just tell it what you want. And I've thrown out like MVPs of stuff that I want to build into our platform, and rather than me doing a little mock-up in Canva and a Loom video, or even just describing it in a Loom video and a doc or whatever it might be, it's like I literally spend 5 minutes in Lovable, create a rough working mock-up of it, and then give that to the dev team and say, hey, this is what I want, right? Just make that better, polish that up, make that better. This is the bit that doesn't work properly. And the speed, I think it's just, no matter what AI is or where it goes, I think it's just the speed of change that it's allowing us to get to, right? How quickly we can get stuff done now. And we both got kids, right? I think your kids are a little bit younger than mine. I've got a 7-year-old. You got 2 boy and a girl, right?
2 boys. They're
2 boys,
4
right.
and 9.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I've got one right in the middle. So sorry, I thought you had 2 younger than me. But yeah, I kind of think about them, and it's like they're not even going to understand as they get through to their teenage years and stuff like that, how quickly they can throw out a design for something, right? How long did it used to take to get a logo design done, right? You'd be back and forth to the graphic designer on like 4 iterations, and then like the purple one, but could you just put a black dot above this or whatever?
Yeah.
No, you just you can do that stuff now with AI, but a few years time it's going to be like next level basically, and they're not even going to understand the time that it used to take to put stuff together. It will just be so quick. You got an idea?
Going
to be in market so fast.
Now that you say that, one reason why I'm in this seat where I am today is because I was able to iterate through failures so fast. But now with this next generation, the ability for them to iterate through failures, you just said you can create an MVP in a few minutes for a product. The fastest I could do it pre-AI was, a few days. So if someone gets really good at just knocking out these MVPs, showing them to customers, asking feedback to find something that they can sell, and then scale that. AI can't scale things yet. There's a whole dev architecture behind getting a product out there that actually works at scale. And I think it'll take a long time before AI can build an app for scale. But yeah, that MVP, making mistakes, putting things out there. Yeah, they're lucky.
Yeah, he's going to get to just blast through stuff. Like I was talking to my son and explains to him how the internet didn't exist. Like I'm a few years older than you. When I grew up, like the internet didn't exist at all. And then kind of came in as I started in my working life, sort of towards the end of school, basically. It was really towards the end of me being in high school that computers were really becoming popular, mainstream. We started having computers in the school. The internet started. And that's what got me into engineering and what I did, like programming buildings, because I was like, there's something in this internet thing. There'll be something there with that. Because I was going to be an electrician. But I was like, where could I go where I can do something with my hands? So I used to wire up the buildings, and then I used to program them. So I kind of had hands-on plus techie skills, because I like doing stuff. And I was like, there's something in this internet thing. And I just kind of
well, you're in the right place then. Now, this whole phone SIM thing is very similar because you have the hardware, the software, the networking component. Yeah,
it's very similar type of stuff, and that's where it's really helped me as well. Because even though I'm not the programmer, I'm not the developer. Like I have a whole team, right? I'm so lucky. Like we have a great team. So I do not do the programming, but I do understand the logic of how it all works and just the process we want it to go through. So, I have the vision for all the stuff, and I'm so lucky we have a great team that have delivered on all that stuff today as well. Putting putting software, a bit of hardware together to solve a problem. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Like, I really enjoy it. Like, I actually really do like that, and the interaction with our customers and getting that feedback from customers. Like I said, the lady was like, "Oh, I've been with JHL for 3 years. I've just sent my first SMS." Getting the stories back from people that have changed their
Yeah,
whole
that's why we
marketing
do it.
strategy.
That's
Yeah,
huge.
they changed their whole marketing strategy because, either before they couldn't get an SMS number, or it was too expensive, whatever it might be, or just doing their database reactivations. Like, we've got clients now that we help with, in the US, even with A2P, where you can get through A2P, but it's still like you're looking at 24 hours, right, to get through A2P. So we have clients that literally use us as a stopgap. It's like they'll sign a client and their promise is that we will have you up and running. There's one particular guy I'm thinking of, right? He uses, he runs Facebook ads with lead forms, SMS, and AI bot to close into an appointment, right? So he uses UpHex to create the ads, which he can just do like that, right? He's done with his ads in literally a few minutes, kind of thing. Then he uses us as the SMS provider, and then a bot to do the conversational close. But because of that, his promise to his client is, okay, if you sign up, I'll have your ads running this afternoon for you. So he has no problem. And then he uses us as a stopgap for A2P. So he will just have it up and running in the afternoon. He'll run their ads for a few days through that while he's applying for A2P. And as A2P comes in, he kind of swaps them over and he just rotates some phones and A2P. So we're a perfect stopgap solution for him where he can deliver on his promise. Because there's nothing worse for, like, you guys in the US where you sign up as an agency, you got a client comes aboard, yeah, no worries, we can do all this great stuff. We'll have an SMS, we'll do Google reviews, blah, blah, blah. And then A2P just doesn't come through the first time. And then maybe not the second time.
They're so excited right away.
Yep.
Like, you got them on, they're so excited, ready to get rolling, and then a week goes by and nothing. And they've lost all excitement. So by the time you get things rolling for them, they're already disappointed and churn increases.
Exactly. So, that's a perfect use case for us. It's just like, it's all that speed to lead. That's why we're talking about AI, right? Speed to market, right? Speed to change of things. So, yeah, just using our service just increases that. You just have a few, like, literally, we just have some clients, they literally just have a few phones hanging around, a few SIM cards, and they just rotate them around. They throw the SIM card away. Once they get a new client, put a new one in so they don't have any crossover of messages and that kind of stuff. And then away they go. So there's, just thinking about the options that you've got for people is incredible, the way that different people use it. So it's not just, we can replace Twilio, but it's not just always about replacing Twilio. It's about, hey, here's the solution for your clients so you can get going really quickly, keep them happy, keep your clients happy, right?
Yeah. Have you raised any sort of funding? Are you bootstrapped at the moment?
I bootstrapped. I just put cash in to bootstrap to start, and then we got to cash flow positive after 5 months, I think. We were good. So we just keep going. Yeah. I was quite surprised. I was prepared just to bootstrap.
Do you foresee raising funds, or do you plan to bootstrap the whole time?
Are you offering? Sorry, are you offering? Was that?
No, just curious.
Just the blank look there. I was like, that didn't land. No.
Just seeing. We were going to bootstrap as long as possible, but AI is a bit different, just because of how fast it's moving. It made more sense for us to do a raise, but just always curious with other founders what their goals are, what they're planning on doing. Yours is different, with it not being the AI space, it's not moving at the same velocity, right?
Yeah. So, I guess it's not moving at the same velocity. I mean, I want to keep our product simple, right? So we've already just added a complication, right? So I'm always thinking about our product and service. We have things on the roadmap, which we're going to do. The thing I'm trying to make sure we do as well is keep our product really simple, right? So our first rollout was like, okay, SMS, right? That's it. That's very simple. And then we have plans and tiers for that. But you also know, like, with plans and tiers comes complications for people. Like, okay, so I'm paying this much money. What do I get for that? For us, it's like we have a lower tier plan, $97 for up to 10 sub accounts, 1 SIM per sub account, right? There was $297 for up to 50 sub accounts, 1 SIM per sub account. And then we have a $497 unlimited sub accounts, 1 SIM per sub account plan, right? That was what we first brought out. Then we brought out multi-SIM. Okay, so another layer of complication to our product. So now you can put as many SIM cards as you want into a sub account, but you have to pay for extra SIM cards. Okay, so even if you're on a $97 plan, you've got up to 10 sub accounts and 10 SIMs, right? But if you're only using 5 sub accounts and 5 SIMs, you can't bundle those other 5 SIMs and say, oh, I'd actually like to have those other 5 SIMs into one sub account. You can't do that. You want another 5 SIMs in that sub account, you have to pay for them. So we still have a simple product, but we added complication in terms of people understanding that. So I'm always thinking about how do we make our product, keep it really simple and simple for people to understand. But we have to obviously build a product that's cash flow positive for us as well. We can't do that and just keep bundling them under. It's going to make our product more complicated. Then we just added in WhatsApp.
Users don't understand how complex it is to build a product, come up with a pricing model, and keep it scalable and easy to understand. Yeah, it is so hard. And marketing agencies should be thinking about that too when they come up with an offer for the businesses they support. I see a lot of them coming up with these complex structures of they're going to do this long laundry list of things, and like, how do you fulfill that? How do you price that? Like, does your pricing make sense?
Yeah, what have I bought here? You know, what am I buying? Because then we're stopping people from buying the product because they just don't even understand it anymore. Like some people, they'll find it complicated to go, oh, so I've got to buy SMS from you. Are you sending me the SIM card and the phone? It's like, no, we don't provide that. It's very clear on our site. It's like, we don't provide that stuff. But people still don't understand that sometimes. Like, okay, where do I get the SIM card from? So, well, you buy it. They go, where do I buy a SIM card from? I'm like, well, where would you buy a SIM card from in your country? I don't know. Go to a telco provider and purchase one. So we have to think about keeping the product as simple as possible to use, right? So we have a very, very simple, like 6-step system to connect. All right. So we're trying to keep that like nice and simple because, like, right? You've got bots that you build, right? And it's like, okay, well, in simple terms, it's like, okay, we're going to prompt the bot and then the bot's going to manage your conversation, right? And there's a billion things before that and in between that, right? So that stuff happening. But you've got to make that as easy as possible for the user. So our process for connecting is like really simple, but there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the back end to run all that and servers and scaling and like there's like, scaling. So even just like having a scaled infrastructure, right? Like scaling that up. That was one of the things that we made sure we did right away from the offset. It's like I used to work in AWS quite heavily. I had a AWS consultancy company that I was COO of. So I was like, we are all in on AWS from day one. I was like, I don't even care. We're building the infrastructure for scale on AWS from day one. So, doing that and then making sure that, every time someone starts another campaign that we can scale up another server and build and, scale up and down because we'll get techie here, but you don't want to be paying for servers that you're not using all the time as well, right? So you scale it properly so that you can scale it up and scale it down because that's managing the cost for the business, right? I don't want to pay $5,000 a month in server costs that I'm not using 70% of the time. I want to scale that back when it's off, not when it's off, but when it's quiet and it's nighttime and people are not sending their messages, right? So that's managing cash flow for the businesses, all those things, right? People don't see any of that.
They don't see any of it, and they don't know when a business is doing that and when they're not too. You have some of these businesses that have really good salespeople on the front end and they make all these promises and it's early days, so they really don't have scaling issues. But then as they grow and it comes time to really stress test what they built, their customers just get decimated. So it's important for people when you're selecting a company to also look at not only what is the feature, what is the price, but how long have they been in business? Are they established? What kind of volume are they doing? Can I really trust them for the long term?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, have they thought about all these things, right? And yeah, absolutely. From the outset, I thought about all those things. And then, like you were saying earlier, like, what's been the challenges going through, like because of being really active with our community, there's so many of our customers I know by first name, and we have conversations, we have chats and stuff like that. See how you going, and there's things go wrong sometimes in business, right? We had this was probably our biggest problem was at Level Up when they rolled out. How many updates was it over like that week? Like there was 200 or something updates got rolled up over that week, and that broke a bunch of stuff for us, right? And then we thought we had it all fixed, and then because they were rolling them out slowly, and then it broke again, and then it broke again. So we had periods where like we were down for 2 to 4 hours at a time, right? So and then we had a backlog of messages, so we had to fix it, get it back up, then send out the messages. And that's bad, right? That's a bad situation to be in when you're sending text messages out, because if you've got just an appointment reminder, for example, right? That's things that are perfect for our system. It's like, okay, hey, Brian, just a reminder, our meeting's in an hour, right? But then that message comes out 3 hours late because our system wasn't working because it got broken because of rollouts from high level. Like that was pretty stressful, right? But yeah, we were all. I was at high level at the same time as you, right? So my team were working on it. I was jumping in, doing lives, just saying, "Hey guys, this is what's happening. We're fixing it as fast as we can." And our clients were amazing. Like they came in and stood up for us in our group, because we did have some people that they just bought the product, signed up a few weeks ago, and their kind of first exposure within a week is, "Hey, this has gone down." Right? They're angry, they're upset. And we had clients coming in saying, "Hey, look, this is not normally like this. Gary and the team are working on it. We're sure that this will be back up in a short time." So I really think that being the ambassador for your product and your brand, and being upfront and talking to people and letting them know your face and who you are and where you are and what you're trying to do, like, has really helped us in terms of our growth. Like, not like we have a good brand and a great product, myCRMSIM. Like we get recommended all the time in the high level group. If there's ever a question about SMS and alternatives,
I see you all over the place.
Yeah, it's like myCRMSIM.
We have that
Gary.
in common. Just you're there for your community. I see that. It's hard though, and that's like as you scale, you set that expectation of being available. There are only so many DMs I can mentally and physically manage though. So
it's a lot, right?
I'm trying to find the balance right now. I have my assistant in my personal messenger now, and that's helped a lot. So she's able to like route people to the right place if it's something that doesn't need to go to me.
Yeah.
It's a lot, and there's no playbook for this, and it's changing all the time.
Yeah. So that's where I'm trying to make sure I am, is to be the front, the visionary. I'm not coding. I'm not doing the tech. I've got great guys for that. I can come up with the ideas, MVPs. They can put that through. Like I said, I've been, well, say lucky, you make your own luck sort of thing. There's hard work to build luck, right? But I'm so pleased with the guys that we have, and they care about the product. They're in answering chat sometimes, because like our live chat, we have humans, we have this support that we go out. Like my CTO is in there sometimes, and he's like messaging me going, "Oh, this person, should I set up a meet to talk with them?" I'm like, no, let them handle it. Like they can guide them through, and we try and let people self-serve a little bit. To you gotta try and train clients a little bit as well, to go, okay, look, the information is there. You need to watch the information, watch the video, and help yourself. Right? All the questions you've just asked are all there. Watch that 5-minute video. Okay, help yourself and educate yourself. You're going to actually use the product better in the long run, rather than us just coming in and showing you how to do it. All right. It's not that we don't want to support or help people, but training clients on how to use the system is more important, I think, than just totally holding their hand and doing it for them. All right, they're gonna get more out of it long run, understand things better, and be able to do it better as well. And
well,
you're talking to. Sorry, go on.
It's as you grow too. I just got to the point where you say your CTO is in there sometimes messaging. I got to the point where I literally couldn't anymore, and I had to remove my credentials from Intercom. Just get
out.
Now we get to the point where we have, and like our documentation's great, our system's great, it's stable, but we're dealing with AI, and sometimes it doesn't react the way people would expect it to. And even though we are like probably the most reliable and stable AI platform out there because of all of our fallbacks and our scalable infrastructure, all this stuff we have in place, we still have like 30 to 50 open chats in there at a time that a human is working on. And I just couldn't see that anymore. I had to remove myself. They have it under control. People love our support. And I just had to tell myself, you know what? I'm holding back our community if I'm in here. I just got to leave.
Fair. Yeah. That's a big challenge, is keeping across all of that stuff. Because I find I get a lot from support, like looking through the channels. Like, I don't read all the conversations, but I do go in and I read the conversations, I read the tickets to see what the feedback is from people. It's like, okay, maybe our document on this isn't clear enough. We need to improve it. Or we don't have a document on that, so we need to add that, making sure those things are done. Because, you know, that's, you can get so much, like, customer feedback is kind of everything, I think, you know, like
totally
all those,
that quick feedback loop.
Yeah.
Get that feedback loop super tight. That's early days. That was like what rocketed us to the top, because I was in their support. I could see a feature someone wanted and I could code it and have it out within hours of them saying they wanted it. Now it's a little bit longer, but we have a US based support team manager, and it's his job to manage the support team and look for trends like that, improve our documentation, relay things to me and our product manager. So yeah, that feedback loop is super important.
Yeah, and you're going through a big scale. Like, you've taken on funding, right? We can talk about you for a second as well, because I know you've gone through funding. I watched all your things about that. That's got to be that's a whole different journey, right? That's not one that I'm taking on, but like that's another level. Again.
That was wild.
How was that?
I did 75 one-on-one pitches in a 2-week period.
Wow.
75 one-on-one half-hour pitches in 2 weeks. We raised $600,000, and most of that went towards staff. So we almost tripled our staff size. Most of it went to devs and UI UX designers, and marketing. We have a CMO now. I'm not as good at sales as I should be. So now we have a CMO who's been a friend of mine for a long time. He's on board with us in the middle of a full rebrand and redoing our marketing strategy. Not only do we have him, but we brought on a marketing agency that just works with SaaS. So we have like 4 more weeks of their whole process before our ads go live. And that's when things are going to explode. It's going to be nuts. Right now, we're just in like a foundational bricklaying stage, because before we didn't really have ads.
Yeah, you just grew through word of mouth. That's what we basically do. We're word of mouth. I mean, we're very active in the groups, the community,
which is nice.
Tons of recommendations. We'll keep growing, and we grow at a nice pace. I guess I'm happy with that. I know you've got I think your goal is to get to $100 million valuation. I seem to remember seeing that somewhere. Is that right?
Yeah. Really by the end of this year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So we're pushing hard. We have milestones that we can meet. We just have to execute.
Man, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing that journey. I guess I don't have that. I don't want to get to that level. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Which is fair. That's fair.
It's where are you in life?
There's
too, right?
nothing wrong with that.
All the things you got to do and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm not sure I need that in my life. We've got other businesses as well. You know, my wife's just set up a whole new business as well in the health retreat space. So we have a lot of other things, and then we just have the one kid, but I've got a son. I feel like I want to spend time with him and stuff like that. So it's like, I'm pretty happy with the way that things go. Right. So there's nothing wrong with $100 million. Nothing wrong with $100 million company, mate. I support you all the way. I look forward to that journey, but I'm like, I also know that's going to be a lot of work, right? And just levels. Like when you get through that, it'll be just amazing levels that you'll have to break through in terms of growth for the company and staff and
for
things you need to take on and changing your roles and everything. And I like my role. I like where it is at the moment. It's very busy. There's a lot to do. I'm not sure I want to take it to that level where I'm going to need that many staff, that many team members. I like our team. It's pretty good.
Well, let me tell you, I'm here. I'm rooting for you. I'm supporting you. It only helps for me to be here for you because so many of our users use your platform, and likewise. So that's why I wanted to have you on. Thank you so much for being on the Qualified podcast. Marketing agencies watching this, make sure you check out myCRMSIM. Message Gary. He's very accessible. You have a good group, right? Should people message your group? What's the best way for people to learn more about your community and your product?
Yeah, probably the best way. I mean, you can either Google us, myCRMSIM. If you go to Facebook, just Google myCRMSIM and join the Facebook group. We obviously have a page as well, but join the Facebook group. If you join in there, if you've got any questions, we have a pretty good active community. You can message in there. I'm very active in there. I pretty much answer most things in there. People will DM me out of there as well. I just try and stay connected with that community and that group. So yeah, just look up myCRMSIM, find us in the high level group somewhere. You'll find me.
I love it. Well, thank you guys. Thanks, Gary. Tune in next time and look for Gary. He's doing great things. If you're looking for a replacement for Twilio, Signal Wire, if you're looking to save costs, simplify your setup, myCRMSIM, great alternative.
Awesome. Thank you, mate. Thank you for having me on. Really appreciate it.